Hey guys, Captain Dylan Hubbard here at Hubbard's Marina with another Sunday night live stream show right here inside beautiful Hubbard's Marina Studios. Getting ready to roll out another episode of this awesome Sunday night show. Thanks for joining in and hanging out with us tonight. We're going to be talking fishing, telling you what's going on now, what's coming up, talking a little bit about the weather, showing you what we've been catching. And then we're going to be answering your questions live and giving away free trips. So definitely stay tuned, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. If you're watching live, don't forget to comment where you're watching from. Don't forget to give the video a like for us on YouTube. Make sure you give it a thumbs up. Facebook, make sure you like the video for us. Share it to your favorite fishing group or on your timeline. Also, don't forget to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. We'd appreciate it. On Instagram, if you're watching on Instagram, you can go onto your phone's browser, go to Instagram.com, sign into your Instagram through the browser, and then you'll be able to find the video, turn your phone sideways, and you'll see the full screen. So keep that in mind if you're watching on Instagram. Also, big shout out to those of you who have sent stars while we were waiting to get rolling there. We saw Craig Robinson, Richard Blasak, Tim Harris with 1,100. Thank you so much, Tim. Brian Burgos, Carl Lovett, Larry White, Barry Long, and Chris Bass. Shout out to you and Cadence. Thanks for watching, y'all, and I appreciate those stars. If you're not watching on Facebook, if you're not familiar with what the stars are, basically it's a way that people on Facebook can show their support, and it really helps us out, kind of fund some of the cool stuff that we do as well. Jason Richmond, Ryan Held, appreciate those stars. Thank you so much. Adam Franklin, thank you guys. Also, want to make sure we give a shout out to our friends over at Gator Jim's Tackle. This show is brought to you by Gator Jim's Tackle, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. If you haven't checked out our friends at Gator Jim's yet, make sure you get over there and do so. Really, really cool store, huge selection. They got it all over there at Gator Jim's. Again, 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. So check them out. Terry Feather, appreciate those stars. Thank you very much. With that, don't forget as well, if you want a chance to win some free fishing trips tonight, guys, you have to comment one time on that Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. So go to Facebook, find the Hubbard's Marina page, find the live video, comment once. You can watch on YouTube. You can watch on Twitch, on Trovo, on a different Facebook page, on Instagram, wherever you want to watch it is fine. But in order to be eligible to win, you have to comment one time on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook stream. Then later on, when we do those random name generator picks, if you're picked, if you're the lucky winner, you have 5 minutes to text us at that phone number right here. So you got 5 minutes to text us at that phone number when you're picked, if you're picked as that lucky winner. And yes, the rumors are true. Tom Brady is back for another season at Tampa. So pretty big news there that kind of got leaked tonight. I think it was like right at 6, 7 o'clock. So pretty huge news that we're going to have our good buddy Tom Brady back for another season here in Tampa Bay. For those of you watching who are not Tampa Bay Bucks fans, I'm sure that sucks for you, but good for us. Gonna be another year. Oh, those poor Green Bay Packers just spent $200 million for no reason. That's funny. Too soon, Josh? Too soon. Josh is a Green Bay Packers fan. Sucker.
Yeah. I'm telling you, soft tissue injury. That's what's going to happen to him.
$163 million guaranteed.
Guaranteed to sit on the bench and warm it up in the Wisconsin winters.
Crazy. All right, let's get into photos and talk about fishing. Let's see what we've been catching. We're going to start inshore, show you guys what we've been seeing inshore. Then we're going to work our way near shore and offshore, talk a little bit about the weather. Then we'll get into your questions. So let's see what we've been catching near shore. Starting off, Pompano. Pompano are back inside Johns Pass and around the area. Definitely been a good week this past week, seeing those Pompanos show up. We had kind of at the tail end of this past week, a lot of that springtime fishery, almost summertime patterns settling into the area with that warming trend. We've got this big cold front that came through this weekend, stirred a lot of stuff up, cooled things down. So that should help lengthen that period of transition, but might have messed up this little kind of summertime pattern we were seeing. Fish really moving around. Pompano showing up, big news. Been seeing the mackerel coming back. A lot of bait showing up in the pass. A lot of things changing. A lot of fish moving around inshore. It's an exciting time. Pompano, this was just inside Johns Pass. Pretty cool. There's another pompano from the jetty. Redfish bite's been real good. A lot of redfish moving around right now. Pretty good concentrations of them out on the flats. Just got to kind of work to find them. But awesome redfish bite this past week. Still residential canals, mangrove shorelines, oyster bars, all good areas to find them. But moving around on the flats pretty heavily, and the white bait is starting to work really well. Vicky Poole, appreciate those stars. Thank you. As you can see, some pretty nice big redfish too. Definitely a good bite at night around the dock lights still. During the day, out around those flats, mangrove shorelines, wade fishing, good option. Sheep's head has been stellar. Catching a ton of sheep's head lately. Really fired up. Seems like the weather's got them excited, knowing that they're on the tail end of their spawning season, so they're taking advantage of it for sure. Lots of big sheep's head been caught lately around the pass and inside the bay, seawalls, dock lines, bridges, piers, jetties, all good areas to find those sheep's head. Barnacles, fiddler crabs seem to be working best, but you can even sometimes get them on small pieces of shrimp and also those fiddler crabs too. So good sheep's head bite. Snook really picked up this past week with that warming trend. They're starting to come out of those canals, rivers, bayous, starting to stage up on those kind of springtime areas, making their way back to the passes. Even a few of them out on the beaches. Captain Mike Anderson was talking yesterday during our radio show that he was catching a lot of them out on the beaches there around Fort DeSoto. And we saw them in the pass at Johns Pass too, but some big girls starting to come out of the rivers. Look at this guy right here, our buddy Eric. Posted this one on Salt Strong. This was just north of 40 inches. Solid, girthy snook. So some big fish moving around. It's a great time to get out there. A lot of schoolie size snook. The white bait's picking up. A lot of bait moving around on the flats. So it's going to be that time of year very shortly where the passes get choked full of snook. And we start seeing them roll onto the beaches during the day as well. So exciting times inshore right now. Definitely looking forward to that warming trend that's coming to hopefully bring a lot of those fish back to the passes and eventually onto the beaches of Madeira Beach and Treasure Island too. But let's work our way near shore and offshore, show you what we're catching a little deeper. So hogfish bite remains pretty darn good for us. It was a little softer this past week, but we caught some nice ones. And I think this cold front will probably help stir things up, get things moving around, probably refresh that hogfish bite for us pretty well. So going to be hopefully a good week of hog fishing, just battling some weather. The red grouper bite's been pretty good for us. Little hit and miss. There's days that are pretty tough. Other days we're doing really well. Still in that deep water closure through the end of March, but we're catching some nice red grouper despite it. Just got to play the game and fish inside that closure fence where we can harvest the red grouper. But as you can see, some nice quality red grouper have been caught lately on the 12-hour stream, the 39-hour trip, doing really well. We haven't had a lot of 39-hour trips. We've only had one in the last 3 weeks because of not because of red, but because of spring break. Spring break is here, and we've scheduled less 39 hours. So a lot of people have commented about how they're missing the 39-hour videos, and that's because we haven't had 39-hour trips to film. But we'll get back to it once we get those 39 hours rolling again. Got a 39-hour scheduled this upcoming weekend, right on that full moon, so it should be a great trip. We'll have some more footage from that. Been seeing some nice mangrove snapper 10-hour all days. Great option to get those mangrove snapper. We had a special private charter with the Take a Vet fishing group, and they did real well out there catching some hogfish, some mangroves, and they even got a nice big old gag they had to catch from release, unfortunately. But been good this past week. Been real good for us. And this upcoming week, the big thing we're going to be battling is weather. And we're going to get into that now, show you guys a little bit about the weather. As always, you can go to our website, hubbardsmarina.com, and right on our website, you can click fishing trips. Then once you click fishing trips, you can scroll down to the weather links page. And once on our weather links page, you can easily see the wind finder forecasts are real easy to navigate to. And something happened with that link, but we can fix that after the show. The wind finder links will take you to the wind finder page, and you can scroll into our areas and see the different buoys. And the Egmont Key Channel buoy is the one that I like to start with, kind of work my way offshore whenever I look at wind finder. That way it gives me an idea of kind of the patterns and what's happening and where. But you can see real clearly it's going to be a little bit windy through the day. Monday, calming down Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday, Friday, Saturday look real good with those dark blues. That means some nicer weather, lower winds. And as you can see here, Monday by 8 a.m., 2.5 foot, getting even nicer through the day. Going to be a little chilly still tomorrow. Wind's going to be up a little bit in the morning, but calming down nicely through the day. So Monday looks pretty good. Tuesday, wind is up most of the day. Going to be cloudy, overcast, but not too rough. So that's good. That's the high pressure, that east wind, even though it's blowing, won't really get those sea heights up very much. So Monday, Tuesday look good. Tuesday night into Wednesday, we're expecting some rain. So Wednesday could be a little bit tricky. We're going to wait a little bit and kind of get a better idea of what's happening Wednesday. But as you can see, the best days this upcoming week definitely look like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and even into Saturday night. And then it's going to pick up a little bit there Sunday into Monday with potentially another cold front. So that's what we're looking at this week. Basically, really confused weather to start, getting really nice, and then potentially another big front there at the end of basically a week from today. So cold front right now, getting nicer. High pressure settles in tomorrow. East wind, crystal clear, beautiful skies. But then another front kind of builds in the Gulf right on top of us from this kind of tail of this stalled front. And that's what's going to back up on us Tuesday night into Wednesday. So definitely a little confused, turbulent weather to start the week, but really nice towards the second half of the week. Stephen Batchelor, appreciate those stars. Thanks, buddy. So definitely best days, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but should be able to get out there and looks pretty good Monday, Tuesday. We do have an added special 10-hour trip tomorrow because we had to cancel today's 10-hour trip. So we've got a light load on the 10-hour all day tomorrow and Tuesday. Only about 25 people, 30 people tomorrow, about 35, 40 people Tuesday. So lighter loads on tomorrow's 10-hour and a pretty light load Tuesday. Thursday's 10-hour looking a little bit more full. We've got the 12-hour night snapper. We've got the 39-hour trip this week, Friday. So great options to get out there and go fishing this week. Definitely don't miss your chance. Monday, Tuesday look good. Thursday, Friday, Saturday look best. Craig Robinson, appreciate those stars, buddy. Thank you very much. So with that, I think it is time to give away our first free trip of the night. Remember, if you're chosen as the lucky winner of that free trip, you have 5 minutes to text us at that phone number right there, your full home address. That's how you claim the trip. 5 minutes, text us your full home address to this phone number. That's how you claim the free trip if you're the lucky winner. And also, don't forget, if you have a question that you want answered live during the show, that's also where you text in your questions. So, with that, let's see who won a 10-hour all day. 10-hour all day for 2 guests. Lucky winner is Pete from Newport Richey. Congratulations, Pete and Christine. Hopefully, you guys can claim that free trip. You got 5 minutes. Congratulations. All right. Let's get into now upcoming events. We got some cool upcoming events coming up. We got March 24th, the Tampa CCA banquet. Again, that's March 24th coming up. That is the Hillsborough County CCA banquet. Going to be a lot of fun. Captain Mike Anderson and myself will be there as kind of guests of honor, and you get an opportunity to sit and eat dinner with us if you win the Captain's Table raffle. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Thursday night, March 24th. I think that's a Thursday night, isn't it, Josh? Yeah, Thursday night, March 24th. I was right. So join us for that. Also, April 19th, we've got our Bartow Ford Real Animals Fishing Conversation. Definitely want to join us for that. There's going to be free food, free soda water. There's going to be a lot of fishing conversation and teasing going on. Myself, the infamous Mike Mahoney, and Captain Mike Anderson, we're going to be talking nearshore and offshore fishing, specifically right there at beautiful Bartow Ford. If you live over here on the beaches, it's a little bit of a hike. If you live over in Lakeland, kind of Orlando area, not as bad for you. But it's a little hike if you live in Pinellas County, but it's worth it. Silver Ring Cafe will be there with lots of good food, and you don't want to miss out. Again, that is April 19th from 7 to 9 p.m. Going to be fun. Louis Canaveri. Appreciate those stars, Louis. Thank you so much, man. Richard Blasak, again, thank you very much. All right, let's see here. Let's get into some questions and talk about what you guys want to talk about. Is August a good time to book a 39-hour trip? Anytime is a good time to book a 39-hour trip. It's basically most to do with when you're available. If you're too busy to go fishing, you're just too darn busy. So if you're available and able, it's always a good time to get out there on the water. August, we typically see a pretty good bite of those red grouper. We see potential for those amberjack. Gag grouper season's open. Red grouper should still be open. There's a lot of fish to catch in August for sure. A little hot, but not too bad. And the boat goes into dry dock, or one of the boats go into dry dock in early September. So August is kind of your last chance to get out there on those 39-hour trips before that dry dock period begins. And then we go a month and a half or so without any 39-hour trips. So definitely, if you're thinking about it, get out there in August. It's a great time to catch them. But anytime's a good time to go fishing. As long as you're available, it's a good time to go. Nick Nieves, appreciate those 1,200 stars, buddy. Thank you so much. You're the man. All right, let's see. What other questions do we have here? When is the next slow pitch jigging trip? So if you go on to our website, it makes it real easy. Right on our website, you can act like you're making a reservation for a 12-hour extreme trip. And right on the 12-hour extreme reservations page, you'll be able to see those kind of off days where the 12-hour extreme happens on Wednesday and Sunday. So if you're looking at the 12-hour extreme calendar, and Josh is navigating there for us right now. So if you go to our website, hubbardsmarina.com, go to long range, and then go to 12-hour extreme, and then act like you're booking that 12-hour extreme trip. There you go. Right there, you see the off day, March 29th. You can kind of highlight that, and it shows you that's the 12-hour extreme slow pitch jig fishing trip. And if you go back, Josh, so that's March 29th. March 29th is the date in March. April 26th is the date in April. And then in May, it is May 24th. So May 24th, April 26th, March 29th. Those are the 3 upcoming slow pitch jig fishing trips aboard the Flying Hub 2. Going to be a lot of fun. And hopefully you can join us. I will be there, and we will be getting jiggy with it. This one is going to be fishing at 120 foot because March 29th, that deep water closure will still be going on. But the April and May trips will be fishing closer to that 200-foot mark like the first trip at the end of January. So should be a great time for sure. I'm running a boat to fish this Friday in St. Pete. Which areas would we focus, or should we focus, to catch some fish? Well, I'm not sure what kind of boat you're renting and how big it is, whether you're asking about nearshore or offshore or inshore. But I would assume if you're renting a boat, it's probably like a deck boat, kind of one of the smaller boats. So you'd probably be more tied to inshore. I would say right now, if you're not super familiar with the area and where to get a hot bite, right now I would head to the Egmont Key Channel. If your boat has a bottom machine, use that to try to find a rock pile covered up right now in Tampa Bay with those sheep's head, tail end of the spawn, like I said, clouded around the Egmont Key Channel edges. Those rock piles really, really stacked up, catching big sheep's head. And bonnethead sharks are still around. Or you could try to hit one of the local bridges for black drum, sheep's head, potentially some snook. So make it easy by going to those big landmark areas to answer your question. That's what I would do, if you're not super familiar with the area and you don't have a boat to kind of fish the flats, local bridges, trying to aim for that time where water's moving, or fish the Egmont Key Channel. Easy to find, and definitely a big drop-off, plenty of fish. Drop a live shrimp to the bottom. You never know what you're going to pull up out of there. So makes it easy, that's for sure. All right, what is your main bait that you would use to catch snook? 2 weeks ago, it would have been shrimp, because when that water's cold, they're very, very crustacean-oriented. Now, water's warming up, bait's returning, so the white bait becomes a better option, like greenbacks, small thread fins, small pilchards, those white baits. But artificial-wise, a soft plastic paddle tail, a DOA shrimp, a mirror lure, Miradine, one of my favorite options, especially as snooks start returning to the past. Rattle traps also. But as far as live bait goes, I would go white bait right now as that bait's returning. And doesn't have to be very big because a lot of the bait we're seeing around the area is still pretty small. So small white bait or a soft plastic paddle tail DOA shrimp would be my go-to snook bait right now. What kind of setup do you need for pompano, and what bait can you use? So you don't necessarily need anything super special for pompano. Recommend a spinning rod. That way you have plenty of casting ability. And you'd want to use a pompano jig or a live shrimp on the bottom. A pompano jig is something like what we have on our online store, is the word I was looking for. Pompano jig can be a small bucktail, just like what you see here. It could be a Doc's jig, Doc's goofy jig. Could be a crazy jig, one of those Spro jigs. Something very small because they have a small mouth, and something that's just barely popped along the bottom. If you're raising your rod tip up too much, it's you're defeating the purpose. They're very bottom oriented, and you only want to move that lure 4 to 6 inches off the bottom at a time, basically staying right on or near the bottom when you're hunting for those pompano. Doc's goofy jig is kind of the old school, most popular method, but there's a lot of other really, really good baits out there on the market, plus those kind of bucktail style ones we just looked at, or just using live shrimp, free lined out there in the surf, or a very minimal weight on the bottom, like a little split shot, drifting through Blinds Pass, Paso Grill, Clearwater Pass, the outside of Johns Pass sandbar, somewhere that's super sandy, and those got that little gully or that little rut where the waves are breaking. That's where those pompano are cruising through. It's a pompano highway. A lot of people will try to cast as far as they can from the beach, when in reality you should be working parallel at a 45 to 60 degree angle away from you if you're fishing the beach. That way you're presenting your bait in those little gullies, those little troughs that run parallel with the beach. That's where those snook, redfish, trout, pompano, black drum, all those fish are cruising up and down the beach in those little troughs or gullies that run parallel with the beach. So that's where you want to put your shrimp, and pompano move up and down the beach all day long. Now, pompano like cleaner water, so this recent cold front's probably going to slow down the pompano bite a little bit so the water can have a chance to calm down and clear up for sure. All right, let's see here. What other questions do we have? Candace wanted to give a shout out to Smokey and Captain Frank. She said she would recommend any kid who loves to fish to learn how with Hubbard's Marina. That's awesome. Candace, appreciate you coming out. Chris Bass, appreciate you taking your daughter Candace out fishing. She was 11 years old. She's hooked on fishing. She came out on a 10-hour trip, had a great time. So that's super cool. Happy that you enjoyed your trip, Candace, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Is grouper fishing better in August than in late March? Red grouper pretty much bite well all year round. We get a little push of red grouper spring and summer, but they bite pretty consistently all year round. Gag grouper bite best in months ending in ER, specifically October, November, December. From Thanksgiving to New Year's is kind of the best time to target the gag grouper. But we catch really big gags in June and July when we're out fishing deeper for red snapper. But we catch plenty of them through August and September too. But I would say August isn't considered like a prime time for grouper, but we get plenty of other fish. Typically what we do run into in August, you have your highest chance for those kind of off-the-wall catches, like Cubera snapper we see a lot of times, August, September, at the end of summer. We see big yellowtails. We see the chance for mutton goes up. The end of summer, we have a lot of like weird catches that we don't see a lot, but when we catch them, they're kind of like historical catches that typically happen at the end of summer around August and September, except for the only thing you got to worry about then is it's brutally hot. That's the downside. But I'm looking forward to being hot and sweaty once again. Excited for summertime. Definitely was way too cold this morning. It was 38 degrees when I was driving to the marina this morning. Then, by the time I made it to Bass Pro and was setting up for my seminar, it was 74 degrees. Got home, sitting on the field, playing with my son as he's driving around in his tractor and I'm driving the RC car. It was almost 78 degrees. Florida. 40-degree temperature swing in one day. Went from boots, jacket, and jeans to T-shirt, shorts, and flip-flops by the end of the day. Definitely pretty funny. Let's see, what other questions do we have? I have five guys, and my five guys, that makes me hungry. Could use a burger. I almost stopped at Five Guys today. Back to the question, Dylan. Come on, focus. Coming down in April to do a 39-hour trip. Was wondering if you have any slow pitch jigs in your shop. Also, wondering what types of fish would be targeting. So we have, in my opinion, a very large selection of slow pitch jigging equipment, rods, reels, jigs. A lot of shops are starting to carry slow pitch jigging stuff, but they only have a small selection. Even some of the bigger tackle shops in the area. We have a very small tackle shop, and almost a quarter of that is now dedicated to slow pitch jigging gear. We have a ton of JYG, a full line of the JYG or Jig Pro. We have a ton of the other, what's the other one? Can't think of it off the top of my head. We have Johnny's Jig, NLO. So we have a ton of NLO. We have a ton of Johnny's jigs, and we have a full line of the Jig Pro with assist hooks, split rings, ball bearing swivels. We have the jig wraps. We have the jig books. We have a ton of slow pitch jigging stuff. Jig wraps, rods, reels. We got anything and everything you could possibly want. For Josh is kind of showing you through the website here. I guess I should pull that up. We've got virtually anything and everything you could possibly want for slow pitch jigging. Look at that, 97 results when he just typed in slow pitch jigging jigs. So 97 different styles of jigs in our very small tackle shop. And like I said, we got the wraps, we've got the little jig rolls to store the jigs, we've got the tackle boxes. We got it all. Like I said, mainly Jig Pro, NLO, and Johnny Jigs are the brands that we carry. But lots and lots of jigs to answer your question. As far as your question about what we would target, we'd mostly be targeting in April on a 39-hour trip, mangrove snapper, yellowtail snapper, vermilion snapper, red grouper, triggerfish, scamp grouper, almacos. You have a good shot at kingfish, blackfin tuna, variety, but mainly targeting red grouper, scamp grouper, mangroves, yellowtails, vermilions, lots of cool stuff like that. We don't carry hog balls. We carry naked ball jigs, but we can't get naked ball jigs right now. So we're actually in the process right now. One of our crew members, Rob Kruger, is actually in the process of making a line of Hubbard's Marina hogfish lures. Captain Frank, Smokey, Will, a bunch of the guys are working with Rob. Rob's going to be the brains behind the project who actually builds the lures, but we're coming out with a line of venting tools and a line of lures, specifically hogfish lures made for and made by your Hubbard's Marina team. So I'm super excited about that, to have our own line of fishing products actually made by Hubbard's Marina. So pretty exciting stuff. Plus, we might even be building a custom lure building shop. More about that soon. Some interesting stuff in the works. So stay tuned for that. New to Florida fishing, should you use a steel leader when fishing for snook? So, being new to Florida fishing, all good. No stupid questions. It's only stupid not to ask is my motto. So definitely don't feel like you have a silly question. Always feel free to text them in. But never, ever would you ever use a steel leader in Florida for any species of inshore fish. The only time we break out the steel leaders is offshore. If we're targeting kingfish or wahoo specifically, those are about the only times we'd be using steel leaders. Inshore, any species you run into, you wouldn't really use steel leaders. We do have mackerel and bluefish inshore, but most of the time you would defeat those by using a long shank hook and avoid the wire. Here in Florida, we have a great fishery, tons of really good eating fish, and lots of stuff going on, and lots of fish to catch. Only problem is there's a lot of people out in the water. There's a lot of effort. There's a lot of hooks. These fish see a lot of hooks, a lot of lures, and a lot of line. So they're smart, and they're very leader shy. So if you're using steel leader or heavy tackle, you're not going to have as good of a shot or as many bites. So you gotta lighten it up a little bit. So generally, inshore, your go-to is 20-pound leader, even 15-pound if the water is really clear, 10-pound if you're fishing on the beaches when the water is super clear in the summertime. So definitely lighten up, and I would stay away from those steel leaders. The only time you get real heavy when you're fishing for snook is when you're fishing like a dock or a bridge and really close to structure, water's a little murky, or it's at night, and you can get away with using 60, 80-pound leader, even 50-pound leader. 50 to 80-pound is common when snook fishing at a bridge at night or when the water's murkier, and you can get away with that. But if you're not fishing structure, if you're fishing on the grass flats, you're fishing on the beach, 20-pound test is kind of your go-to and kind of more standard. Kathy Roberts, appreciate those stars. Thank you very much. With that, it's time to give away another free trip. Let's give away our 5-hour half day for two guests. 5-hour half day for 2 guests. That is a $150 value coming at you now. Justin Roch from Clearwater, local. Congratulations, Justin. All right, so let's get into some more questions here. Does the 12-hour night snapper have a 2-day bag limit? Absolutely not. The 2-day bag limit is brought about by a trip greater than 30 hours. So our 39-hour, our 44-hour, they have a 2-day bag limit. 12-hour night snapper trip, not even close to qualifying for a 2-day bag limit. So only got that single-day bag limit on the 12-hour night snapper. And that's a common question because you leave on a Friday, you come back on a Saturday. A lot of people think that is true, so can't hurt to ask. Like I said, there's no such thing as a silly question. It's just silly not to ask. Next question is loading up here. Coming down the first week in May, what are my chances to hook up with a mahi-mahi? If you go further south to Key West, or you head over to the East Coast, you have a shot at a mahi-mahi, especially right now. And in May, you still have a shot at them. But here off our coast, you'd have to go real deep, and you may or may not have a shot at them. We don't see them very consistently, and it's not one of those things where I would feel confident or even right ethically to leave the dock saying, we're going to go run a trip to catch mahi-mahi today, because we just don't have them that consistently here in Central West Florida. The Keys, the East Coast, they have a much more consistent mahi-mahi presence or pelagic bite. We have pelagic species. We get kingfish, blackfin tuna pretty prolifically. We see mahi-mahi, sailfish, wahoo. We see those, but just not super, super prolifically. Mostly kingfish, mackerel, kingfish, spring and fall. With that, we'll see some cobia. You have a shot at some of those sailfish, wahoo. Tuna, we see mostly in the cooler months, but we catch them all year round. Blackfin tuna. Mahi-mahi, most of the time we see them late spring, through the summer, into fall. We even catch some big ones occasionally in the cooler months, but totally random. Not really something we can depend on or count on. Willie Solowski, Craig Robinson, appreciate those stars, buddy. Thank you so much. All right, let's see. What other questions do we have here? Give us your favorite fishing story from the family archive. Well, that's a tough one. I have a lot of favorite fishing stories. I have a lot of favorite fishing trips. Some of my fondest memories are memories fishing with friends and family, and getting out there with my dad on 39-hour trips, fishing with my sisters. One of my favorite, most memorable trip. There's a lot of them. Every trip's a memorable experience. I would say going down to the Keys in that area on our 72-hour trips back in the day was pretty cool. We used to do a 55-hour. We did 63 hours back in the day. So we used to do a lot of unique, different trips. Those were a lot of fun. But just going out on 39-hour trips and catching a ton of mangrove snappers is always a lot of fun. Getting out there, getting out of cell phone range, leaving the cell phone at home, turning it off, getting out there outside of light pollution. There's a lot to be said about getting out on a 39-hour trip and realizing how many stars are up in the sky when you're fishing at night. It's really, really cool. We always talk about, we caught this big fish and the fishing's doing this. It's fun to just ride along on a 39-hour trip, get out of cell phone range for a weekend and just escape and enjoy the fact that you're just this little small speck on the face of the Gulf of Mexico, floating around. Even though you're in a really large boat, it makes you feel real small when you're way out there in the Gulf. So it's pretty cool. A lot of stars, a lot of cool stuff comes up to the surface at night when we got those lights shining on the surface of the water. You'll see squid, sea snakes occasionally. You never know what kind of big fish is going to be circling the boat at times. We've seen what Will felt was a great white shark just recently, this past week in Sarasota, and again in Clearwater. Great white sharks have been spotted off our coastline. So big sharks out there. One of the most memorable sharks that I've caught was about a 11-foot tiger shark. That was really cool. I was real young. Hooked him on the hub. My father, myself, my whole family, all my sisters were on the boat. Took us like 3 hours to get the thing to the boat. Everybody wanted to go home by then. It was just my dad and I who were still interested. But finally got that big shark up to the side of the boat. It seemed like it was 20 foot long because I was probably only like 10, 11 years old. And I'll never forget that. That was pretty cool. Ruben Rhodes, appreciate those 1,200 stars, buddy. Thank you very much. Also, just some of the big fish that we've caught, and I've seen caught and caught myself. Big 10, 11, 12-pound mangrove snapper, big fat 25, 30-pound red grouper. I think my big gag's right around 30, 35. I haven't got a real big gag myself, but I've seen some big ones caught. Big amberjack, catching amberjack until you can't open your hand. Your forearm gets all cramped up and it looks like a claw because you're holding the reel and you can't open your hand. You have to use your other hand to force it open. Definitely a lot of just good experiences like that. Plus, meeting other people, learning more things, and sitting back, relaxing, enjoying some good food and cold beer offshore. It's always a good time. So that's a hard question to answer. I haven't been stumped very often, but I would say that one, picking a favorite fishing trip would be very difficult. All right, what other questions do we have here? Are you guys ever going to do that Generations trip again that I went on when I was like 12? Not quite sure what you're talking about. Maybe you're talking about... Josh, do you remember when we filmed that pilot reel? My dad had the crazy idea that we'd get a reality show. You remember that, Josh?
Yeah, but I don't remember when that was.
It's on our YouTube channel. It's called Sundowners. So if you get onto YouTube and just Google Sundowners, Hubbard's Marina, it'll pop right up. And it's like an 18-minute long video. Maybe not. I think you have to Google Sundowners, Hubbard's Marina to get it to pop up, or a search on our channel. But Josh is going to drop the link. It was 4 years ago. It seems like it was so much longer than that. But yeah, it was a pretty cool little process. I thought the sound was playing on the stream. I was like, wait a minute. But that video might be what you're talking about because at one point we invited some of our generational guests out with us, people that we know have fished with my grandfather, fished with my father, and now still fish with us today. Perhaps that's what you're referring to. I'm not sure. But yeah, I mean, we'd love to have you guys come fishing again. What are the chances of a second 12-hour trip within a week? It depends on the weather. I mean, right now, getting 2 12-hour extreme trips out in a week seems almost impossible the way the weather's been. But we're really, really hoping that we'll get a nice stretch of good weather again. But it's definitely been treacherous weather-wise as of late. So we'll have to wait and see, but we're hoping to get some trips out there. Typically in the summertime, we'll get a little bit more moderate, dependable weather, but it's got to be nice weather to get those 12-hour extreme trips out there, especially right now with the way fuel prices are. We're going to even have to be more conservative because even with the sold-out load of people, the Flying Hub 2 is basically breaking even on fuel because it runs out there and burns 300 gallons at almost $6 a gallon because it has to buy fuel on the water from the marina, and it's literally almost $6 a gallon times 300. $1,800 in fuel. So it's not pretty right now on the water, but we're really trying our best to avoid any fuel surcharges or any increase in price. We just this year instituted a price increase, so I really want to try to avoid any sort of fuel surcharge for as long as possible. But we can't endure this much longer. If it keeps creeping up or doesn't start coming down a little bit, we're going to be in a little bit of a challenge. Let's keep the political comments out of the stream, though, guys. Keep it dedicated to fishing. Politics and religion don't mix with fishing. We all have our own personal opinions, but let's not share them in the live show, please. All right. Would you guys do a mothership trip for kayakers? Absolutely not. Never, ever, ever again. My back surgery when I was 21 years old, I attribute to a kayak mothership trip. It was very fun. It was really cool. We did it for like 3 years. We put like 10, 12 kayaks on the friendly fishermen, head out there 35, 40, 50 miles, and drop a bunch of kayaks in the water and send people out there on their kayaks. It was a lot of fun. They caught some fish. It was really, really cool, and we loved doing it. But kayaks got real fancy real fast, and a Hobie kayak with a pedal drive, a fish finder, a trolling motor on it. I mean, those things can weigh 600-700 pounds. So you really need a specialized vessel to launch those things. We were using 2 guys and a gaff, 2 gaffs, and literally lifted one of those kayaks over the side of the boat, and I felt something pop. And shortly thereafter had lower back surgery. So I personally will never, ever do a kayak mothership trip unless we have some serious kayaking anglers who privately charter the boat, and then at that point we'll weld together a little bracket to launch those things. But definitely not a public style trip like we once intended. All right, so let's see what other questions do we have here. Has Hubbard's always been in its current location? No, we used to be over in Paso Grill. We started in 1928 with 6 rowboats and 14 cane poles. But we moved to Johns Pass in 67. So that's when we moved to Johns Pass. We've been in Johns Pass ever since. So we haven't always been here in Johns Pass, but we moved here in the late 60s from Paso Grill, 8th Avenue, where we started, which was then called Hubbard's Pier. Now it's called Mary Pier. So we started on Mary Pier, in 1928, moved here in 67 inside Johns Pass. It's been in the family since 1928, and now we're fourth generation owned and operated. Definitely a lot of fun. Big blessing for sure. Do you ever catch monkfish? No. That is something I have never heard of in the Gulf. I am familiar with a monkfish, but believe that's more Atlantic coast. To be honest, I don't think they're caught in the Gulf, but not 100% sure on that. But definitely not something that we see on our trips. I can say that with confidence. Josh is Googling it. Yeah, it's more of a northeast from Maine. So the U.S. monkfish commercial fishery is operated Maine to North Carolina. So northeast all the way to yeah. So mostly along our Atlantic coast, mid-Atlantic to New England coast. There you go. Learn something new every day. Didn't know it was that far south. I thought it was mostly up in the northeast. Is Jared watching the stream? Is that why Hubbard's Marina just commented that?
Yeah.
Hey, Jared. That's funny. Let's see. What other questions do we have? Are we out of questions, Josh? The first time?
Yep.
Oh.
We got one other one after this one.
All right. What other one do we have? I guess we're almost out of time, too. Let's see. What other questions do we have? Thank you for all the nice words about the seminars today. The Mrs. Hub is not available for charter. That is our big sport fishing boat that we had available for charter. We are no longer chartering it. That is out of the rotation. Let's see here. All right, so don't forget, guys, we've got mackerel showing up on the beaches, so you can come out and go trolling with us on our 5-hour half day, 39-hour, 44-hour, 10-hour. We're moving too fast to troll, but you can get out there and flatline for those kingfish. Definitely seeing a lot of mackerel showing up, so great opportunity to come out and troll on a 5-hour half day, way out, way back. Great opportunity to catch some nice mackerel, planer and spoon. You can even do it on your own boat, even a little skiff cruising down the beach. That hard bottom just west of Blinds Pass, the hard bottom out of Paso Grill, the shipping channel from the Skyway to Egmont Key and beyond, cruising through there. Lots of great opportunity to catch those mackerel. 1 to 2 planer with a little 4-inch king spoon or drone spoon. Definitely a great option for those mackerel. Also, again, don't forget April 19th. Write it down in your calendar. We hope to see you at Bartow Ford every Sunday night right here on the Hubbard's Marina Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Trovo, and Twitch channels. We've got our Sunday night live stream show every Sunday night at 8:30 p.m. Every Saturday morning, we got our Real Animals radio show, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m., News Radio 970 WFLA, and also streamed live to our Hubbard's Marina Facebook page. And then every Friday morning, Fox 13 news segment. So hopefully you've got a chance to catch up with us on some of that stuff, and we hope to see you soon. Also, don't forget as well to check out our friends over at Gator Gyms. This show is brought to you by Gator Gyms, our friends over there at 3301 Pinellas Point Drive South in St. Pete. Make sure to check them out. Also, a shout out to our friends and partners, Real Animals radio shows, Yamaha, Bass Pro Shops, Engel Coolers, Salt Strong, Aquatic Nutrition, Sport Fishing Chum, Cleanse Oil, and Bull Bay Rods. Don't forget to check out Hubbard's Marina on TikTok, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Trovo, Twitch, and the Nextdoor app. And then also, don't forget to give away the 39-hour trip. Right, Dylan? I won't forget that this week. Josh is here, so he'll help me remember. But also, our supporters after show. If you're one of our supporters, the supporters after show is going to start at 9:50. 9:50 will be the supporters after show. You can become a supporter now to join our after show right on the top of our Facebook page. That is a Facebook only group. So you have to have a Facebook page to be a supporter, but it's a private group on Facebook that you get access to once you become a supporter. You get that private after show every week after our live show and a lot of behind the scenes stuff too. So really, really cool. All right. With that, it's time. Let's give away our 39-hour fishing trip for one guest. Let's see who the lucky winner is of that 39-hour trip. Winner is Holly Back Kelly. Congratulations, Holly. You are the lucky winner. Don't forget, you got to claim your free trip within 5 minutes to prove you're watching live. Huge shout out to Chris and your beautiful wife for coming by the Bass Pro Shop seminar today and bringing us a special pecan pie and carrot cake. That's right.
What?
For those supporters from our supporters group, you know about that carrot cake. Yeah, we got a freshie from Chris Collins. Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. You all have a good night. We'll see you soon for the supporters after show if you are a supporter. If you're not, think about joining. It's pretty fun. Shout out to Chris Collins again. Appreciate that carrot cake and